Mizzen Meets, and not only young people, but also some entrepreneurs. So that's not the only entrepreneur that's building life home. That's the only one. So thanks, folks, for joining us. It's going to be a great conversation. And for some of you who don't know what Mizzen Meets is, we'll kind of break that down. Mizzen Meets, and not only young people and have these conversations. My name is Carlos Santini, CEO of Mizzen Education, where we are committed to equipping and inspiring after-school, summer learning, youth development professionals to offer dynamic learning experiences for young people, and also provide cool learning experiences for adults and educators to inspire them to get this love of learning, this to spark curiosity and joy in out-of-school time all over the country. So this is what we do. This is what we love. And Mizzen Meets is an extension of what we love, which is the great people that make up that great work. So, whether you're an after-school professional, summer learning, camp counselor, running a youth development organization, we find these amazing people from all across the country, and we have conversations with them. To be chosen for Mizzen Meets is a little bit of a privilege because you got to be cool enough, to hang with Mizzen Meets. And we found some really cool people today. So again, folks, welcome. I want to thank the Mizzen team for working with the great folks from Missouri AfterSchool Network in Aaron Banks and Mark Calsert and the rest of the Missouri AfterSchool Network team to make this moment possible for us to spend time with some amazing young people here today for Mizzen Meets. I will say this. Oftentimes you think that entrepreneurship is for certain people, or you got to be a certain age. But today we're going to dispel all those myths because we are, in addition to hanging out with great people, it is National Entrepreneurship Month. And so we are celebrating that. And in celebrating that, we want to recognize great people that are doing some great work around entrepreneurship. Some of them are great partners of Mizzen. That includes the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, Venture Lab, Young Entrepreneurship Institute, among others that do some great work in the area of entrepreneurship. So let's kind of dig in. Folks are here. I'm going to get down to introductions, and so get ready, folks. So first up, I do want to introduce Emma. She is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Heartland. I'm sorry, kind of like I had it here and I messed up the title, Emma. You're the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of the Heartland Entrepreneurship Club in Missouri. There we go. That's a mouthful. So Emma, welcome. Thank you for your leadership and your innovation in that space. How are you feeling today, Emma?
Good. Thank you.
Okay, and you're out of the city of Poplar Bluff, which I've never been to Poplar Bluff, but I hear great things about it. Obviously, you're there, so it's got to be cool. And so you're joined with your great mentor, Robbie Toth-Cosby. And Robbie, you're the Chief Operating Officer of the Boys and Girls Club of Heartland. So welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're really excited to be here today.
Yeah, awesome. And we'll continue the introductions. We're going to introduce next Mr. Noah, who's a senior in St. Louis, Missouri. He is a social entrepreneur and founder of Junior Java, a specialty coffee and tea company dedicated to promoting education equity globally. So Noah, welcome. I've met you in person. I've tasted your stuff. So it's so cool to see you here. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to see you as well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, man. And you are kind of sort of joined, right? You're not necessarily in the same space, but we've got Kara with you, who's you could say, right? She's championing your efforts in the space of entrepreneurship. Kara, you're the coordinator for the Webster Grove School District Thrive Entrepreneurship Program. So Kara, welcome aboard. Welcome to the Mizzen.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, St. Louis is an awesome place for youth entrepreneurship. And so Noah, I'm going to do a little shout out to you too, is part of our, it's the Catalyst program with Clayton High School and Ladue High School. So we are kind of a sister program of there. So Noah's rocking it there, and we're lucky to have him in St. Louis.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. What's going on in the water in Missouri? What's going on with entrepreneurship in Missouri? Whatever it is, we need a sip. We need a taste of that. So Missouri is definitely in the house. And you can read more about the bios for both Noah, Robbie, Emma, Kara. You can read about them on the Mizzen Meets landing page for today's show. So if you want to drop that in the chat, Haley, you can go ahead and do so, and folks can read more about these great folks. And what I don't want to do, and sometimes, all right, I'm going to call out youth development professionals. We talk about youth voice, and then we talk too much, right? And so I don't want to commit that same error. I want to hear more from the young people. So let's dive into this conversation so we can hear from Noah, we can hear from Emma, and then, definitely want to hear practicals on how the entrepreneurship shows up at a school time in youth development programs. So we're going to dive right into these questions because I am dying to know and hear from both from Noah and Emma. So let's start with this question. And Emma, we'll go with you first. And there are many different ways that people describe entrepreneurship, right? How would you describe it? What is entrepreneurship to you?
I would say it's very interesting and very fun. Keeps me busy. It's a new way to learn how to do things, and it challenges your brain, and it's very exciting and something fun to do.
Excellent. And I'm sure that Scott Mann, who's on our show today, will agree in terms of challenging your brain because Venture Lab talks about mindsets, right? I mean, a lot of times entrepreneurship starts there. And Kara has talked about engaging with failure, right? As an entrepreneur. And so you're spot on, Emma, when you talk about the challenging element, right? How it challenges our ways of thinking. So what about you, Noah? How would you define entrepreneurship?
So that's a great question. I define entrepreneurship as um anything that starts like a business or organization that is set to help solve a problem. And so this problem could be a wide range of different problems, but entrepreneurship is about solving problems in the market.
Excellent. Great response from both of you. And Noah, I mean, oftentimes people think entrepreneurship is you just creating a product just because you want to make money, right? And yeah, I mean, there's an element of profitability and revenue when it comes to creating a product or service. But at the end of the day, I think you and Emma are looking at it and going like, what's missing, right? What's the problem that we're trying to solve? And then challenging your brain to come up with a response to that. So appreciate that response. And I would say for folks that are listening in, does that definition resonate with you? And if you've got a different definition, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Let us know because we also want to learn. There might be entrepreneurs among you that are joining today. And so we want to hear from you too. So thank you both for that response. And I think related to it is who inspired you or who or what inspired you to take that step to be an entrepreneur, to create something for yourself based on an idea, on a passion. So who or what inspired you, Noah? Why don't you kick us off?
So there's actually a story that goes along with it. So I was actually at my middle school, my seventh grade history class, and we were learning about how due to events beyond their control, children are facing the impact of imperialism from a long time ago. And because of that, they lack educational resources and even the resources they need to access education in developing countries. And this lesson really resonated with me and didn't sit right with me. And I wanted to figure out what I could do to help. And so I was already very interested in entrepreneurship at the time. And so what I did was I knew that coffee and tea were the second and third most drunk beverages. So I used that to as a medium to bring more attention to education equity. And that's when in November 2019, when I was a seventh grader, I started Junior Java with a mission to help promote education equity for children in need around the world.
Okay, that is an awesome example. And no, I really it's very, and I think it's so astute to sit there and think about, all right, what is something that will drive, what's a product that will drive, that will direct attention, right? And to think that you went with that strategy, and then obviously you being a social entrepreneur, you attached an equity component to it. And I think what's cool is entrepreneurs can actually bridge that gap, right? They can bring attention to an issue. So really awesome response there. Emma, what about you? Who or what inspired you to take those steps as an entrepreneur?
When I first started coming to Boys and Girls Club Teen Center, I saw that they were making shirts and I was like, whoa, that is super cool. I think that's something I might like to do. So later on, Miss Cami made a club and she was like, hey, you should join this. We're gonna make t-shirts, we're gonna make cups, we're gonna make everything. I was like, awesome, that sounds amazing. And just from then I've become so interested and excited about this club that I'm like, you know what? I feel like I wanna be the leader of this club. Like I want to teach people how to do this too. Like this is something really fun and really exciting and it's just super amazing.
You know what I appreciate about Emma, what you're sharing right now is your joy. You can feel it jumping across through the screen in terms of that fun. Even just starting with "whoa," like right, not the dance, the "whoa," but you know what I mean. That joy and that excitement, it's infectious, and so that is a great way to see entrepreneurship as something that brings you joy. Robbie, and Kara, you're listening in on these first two responses. I mean, as you kind of sit side by side with your entrepreneurs, how do their responses kind of resonate with you in terms of how you've seen their entrepreneurship journey, in terms of how they define it, who or what inspired them, like what stands out to you in their journey? And maybe Kara, let's start, or Robbie, let's start with you since you're off mute.
Okay. Yeah. Just sitting here next to her, hearing her responses, it just makes me super proud. Just because we've had the entrepreneur club going for a few years now, and it just gets stronger and stronger. And just hearing, their side of the story and hearing how they feel and how it impacts like not only them but other members in our club and throughout Missouri. It's just a really awesome experience that I'm getting to witness. So I'm super proud of her.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah, I love that Noah, you share that story about hearing and learning about this problem in school. Like a teacher shared that with you and you saw and heard the problem and you wanted to solve it. So that gets me excited as an educator on, what can I share with students that's going to motivate them to want to go out and make a difference and not just hear it and think, oh, that's a terrible thing. No, you heard it and then you acted. And that's what we really want our students to start doing is to not only just seeing problems, but thinking of solutions to those problems. And I love that the program that you're in and in our program, like our job as leaders of that is to help you with those solutions, to help push you to say, yeah, that's a problem. Let's work through it and see what we can do. So I love it that it was a teacher that inspired you to do that. And I hope that other teachers find joy in that and knowing that it has that one lesson. I mean, just sparked this and made you, create a business that you've been running for what, 6 years? I mean, that's huge. That's huge. So I love that. And the part about creativity, you know, that's a big part of entrepreneurship is that creative and having that mindset of, um, you know, finding creative solutions to problems. I think oftentimes in school, we kind of kill creativity.
Mm.
And that's something that we're really working on in our school district is making sure that we don't lose that as we come through the educational system, that our kids are curious and are creative and, have the freedom to make mistakes when they're trying to solve problems. And so that's where I see us. And I'm glad I get to support kids in that role. I just wish it was everywhere. So that all teachers could have that joy, just like you have that joy talking about your business. Like it gives me joy to be able to see that in our students.
That's so great. And look, I mean, this is bringing up some new questions that we didn't necessarily plan for, but they're here. And I think they're very related to what you're sharing. And this is Haley saying, how do you help youth move from idea to solution? So, Robbie, let's start with you, right? So this idea of there's an idea, and how have adults, or maybe even Robbie, how have you moved from this is an aha moment, this is an idea, something was shared, and then how do you start taking action? So maybe Robbie and Emma, y'all can team up and kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so our club is kind of unique, our Boys and Girls Club. So we are all about like the member voice, member choice, and if the kids come up to us or the youth come up to us and they say, we want to try this, we're like, let's try it. It might be a really wacky idea, it might be a really crazy idea, but it might work, it might not. Let's go ahead and try it out. We want the kids to see if it's going to succeed or see if it fails, and then learn from that. If it fails, then what can we do better? What can we do differently? This club specifically, our entrepreneur club, is all youth led. So we have a CEO that's running it. We have a CFO that's in charge of finances. We have like a design team. We have everything is youth led. So we want their voices to get heard, and to try it out and see where it goes.
Emma, what do you think about that?
I think she is absolutely correct. I mean, this really started off as an idea, and it just became something big, and now it's part of our everyday lives. And I come to Boys and Girls Club, and the first thing that I think about now is, okay, great, I get to go and make shirts now with all my friends, and I get to teach them, and I get to be the model to show them how to do things. And you know, it's all about ideas. We all started with ideas, but then it all just became one, and it became something, and now it's really successful, and it's really good.
And the younger kids,
You're giving me goosebumps. Y'all are
they
giving me goosebumps over here.
I know, she's great. Our younger members see what the teens are doing, and they can't wait to get up to the next grade so that they can join the t-shirt making club. So they think the entrepreneur club is super cool, and they look up to the teenagers to see, what they're creating and how they can be a part of it, and they're just excited to join too. So it's a really cool opportunity that they have provided themselves at our club. So.
What you're sharing is really akin to the kind of the pedagogy of constructivism. Like, youth learn best when they own their learning, when they can step in and go, yeah, this is mine, right? This is my learning space. This is my experience, my content. So fantastic. Kara and Noah, what is your process for going from idea to solution?
So it's different at every grade level for us. It was funny. Right now we have our middle school club going on after school. And I was talking to one of the leaders, and she said, one of the kids has an idea for an app. I don't know how we're going to prototype this. I think I'm just going to say, why don't we try something else? And I was like, no, absolutely not. We're going to let them prototype that. In fact, you can prototype it on Canva. And you're going to let them pitch that idea, and it's going to be fine, because there might be someone in the audience that says, hey, I can help with that. Code with Classy. They could then sign up for something like that and actually learn how to code. So, as leading this program, I find myself reminding adults to not say no when we're letting kids brainstorm ideas. I'm always like, okay, yes, and why not? Let's try it. So we do a lot of brainstorming when we're coming up with solutions. We have lots of whiteboards everywhere. We do no idea is a stupid idea. Get it all out on the table and see what sticks. Lots of prototyping, lots of failure, and then moving on from it. So I find that kids find it easier to find solutions to problems than the adults. And sometimes the adults are the problem and are getting in the way of the kids finding solutions to the problem. So that's a big part of my job, is to remind adults to let kids think through and be creative and sit in the struggle of coming up with a solution instead of trying to solve it for them.
And Noah, you lived this out, because from the story you just told earlier from your teacher, the teacher made a statement or comment, and you ran with that. So it doesn't even take much to go from like idea to action or solution when there's passion and there's interest. So how do you kind of see this idea of moving from idea to action and solution? What's that been like for you?
So for me, throughout this whole process of really starting my company, and then I guess continuing to move on from it, and it's always about continually upgrading, and also a lot of trial and error. So when we first started, we were like, honestly, we started roasting the coffee in our kitchen. We were testing out different suppliers and all that. And now I'm blessed to have the opportunity to be able to import coffee from regions like Honduras, Costa Rica, all over the world, basically. And also we've released a line of teas, and it's ranked in quality the top 2% of teas in the world. So our products are all high quality. We're able to each year we've been able to increase our impact with our donations towards both school supplies in other countries, and we've been blessed to support other local organizations. So and we just reached or we're nearing our 5-year anniversary from when we started on November 16th. So just each year, each month even, we're trying to continuously upgrade and look for new ways to improve our brand and solve more problems.
Yeah, and both of you, I think for folks who are sitting here listening to the journey of an entrepreneur, some might think, oh, well, everything they touch turns to gold or coffee, or a cool shirt, right? But there's also challenges, there's also failures. And so if you can maybe walk us through what is that other side of being an entrepreneur when you encounter a challenge that you probably are not able to overcome. You have to come up with a plan B or maybe start all over again. And Emma, we'll start with you in terms of what's been your mindset around dealing with challenges and I dare say failures when it comes to the work you've been doing.
It's all trial and error. When we are making shirts, somebody could print it too low, somebody could print it too high, and you just can't stay mad because it's a learning experience for everybody. So you just got to teach them, to keep going and how to do something right. So for me, the biggest failure for us would be trying to perfect the shirts because you want to make sure all the shirts are perfect for the consumer to be happy, and you don't want to overpress it, you don't want to underpress it. And there's just so many things you got to know, and that's why I teach my group how to do the shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you gave us a very specific situation where you encountered a challenge, which
Mhm.
is where the design lands on your product and not staying mad when things don't line up correctly. And if you're a graphic designer, right, or if you're a perfectionist, that can be a challenge to your mindset. You can sit
Yeah.
with that failure maybe for too long. What about you, Noah? What are specific examples of times that you faced a challenge and you overcame or had to come up with a new plan?
So there's really challenges all the time, but one major challenge that sort of everybody has experienced was definitely the pandemic. So
Mm.
as we were really just starting then, and for us to have to go into lockdown right when we're sort of trying to launch was very I'm not going to say completely hard, but it was just really different. Trying to navigate through that as a just starting company. So again, that was part of the trial and error stage. It forced me to look for, instead of going through the networks I was used to going to, I started delving into more social media stuff, just putting out content. And so really with any challenges that I come across now, I know that just to trust myself, trust my network, and just to continue working, and eventually I'll come out on top.
You both shared something, and I think Kara shared something earlier. Sometimes just stepping out and being brave with your idea can inspire others to go, "Hey, let me jump in. I want to help." So, you know, perfection doesn't always have to be there for someone to say, "I want to be a part of it." As a matter of fact, some might argue that coming in with a sense of like, "Here's my passion, my concept, my idea. Help me finish it, right? Help me build it out." I think it draws people in versus like, oh, they've got it together. Why am I even going to bother? So I think that's interesting. The other thing that I'm hearing is that for educators, young people don't want to see perfection. They want to see authenticity, right? Be authentic. Like when you step into those learning spaces, when you're trying to create something, if young people want a part in it, and if it comes across as polished and finished, then what's their role? So we want authenticity, not necessarily perfection. Which when you think about you as entrepreneurs, if you and you are in a position of giving advice now, which is really really cool. For those who want to follow your path, whether they're your age or maybe a little older, like Mark Kauser, maybe by a few years, right? What should they think about or do first if they want to take this journey of entrepreneurship? We're going to ping pong back and forth. So Emma, we'll go to you for this one. What should an aspiring entrepreneur do first on this journey?
The first thing they should do is research. If you don't research, you're not going to know anything. You need to make sure you have the skills, the want, the need to be able to go off and do something. Because if you don't have that, then you're not going to be like, oh, I want to set a career path for myself. I want to do something. You can't say, oh, well, I don't think I can do that. No, you need to say, I can do that. I got that. And that's how it should be. That's how you should move forward. Your future is ahead of you. It's not behind you.
Very, very decisive on that response. Noah, what should an aspiring entrepreneur do first on this journey?
So I totally agree. Research is definitely one of the first things you should do. But another thing you should do is ask for help. There's so many support networks that, although some may be hard to find, people are, excuse me, people are, sorry,
All right.
people are definitely willing to help. And there's so many, sorry,
Take your time, bro. Take your time. Go on mute. Do your thing.
there's so many, wow, I'm losing my voice. Okay. You can see how passionate I am about entrepreneurship here. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All good.
There's so many different support networks. Even people on this call. Venture Labs helped me a lot. Missouri AfterSchool Network. There's so many networks that have helped me out and definitely have helped me increase the quality of my brand. And so definitely, I wish had access to them when I got started because it would have helped me upgrade a lot faster. But yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, just I mean, what I love about both of y'all's journey, and I'll use Noah as an example, Emma, because I had a chance to meet him, is that it wasn't in the cards for me to run into Noah, and there he was. And what I loved about it is that he stood by his product with great confidence and pride. And I think that's what I hear from both of you, is that there's this sense of confidence and pride in what you're building, even though, right, you've gone through challenges, which, is part of like this next question around discouragement, right? Uh, Share about a time where you've been discouraged and something didn't work out, because failure is one thing, right? Because you can go through failure and still be pumped and jazzed, but there are some times that you're just discouraged and you go, should I even do this? If you can be maybe a little candid or vulnerable with, like, what was that moment for you where or have you experienced that yet? Maybe you haven't, but if you have, what was that? And maybe Noah, you can start us off with that.
Yeah, so going back to I guess my first example, definitely the pandemic was a time I was feeling pretty vulnerable. I had started a lot of basically I had just released my first line of coffee, was sort of looking to expand that. Um, I had my Coffee Kids program, which is a program I was looking to start to connect people interested in or young people interested in business and entrepreneurship and sort of help them and give them opportunities as well to both learn and experience entrepreneurship while doing it at the same time. And so with just starting that, I had like sort of like 10 coffee kids that now I had to figure out, oh, how am I going to keep them in network? How am I going to help them when we can't even see each other? So I had to completely rework that. And now, even today, I'm currently working to create a course uh, to teach um, to teach people interested in entrepreneurship about entrepreneurship and further expand the idea of both entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship to young people across the country.
Awesome. Thank you, Noah. Thank you. Emma, any experiences with that, with just discouragement and how you overcame?
Um, when we first started, I had made a bunch of shirts. I'm really excited. I'm like, this is gonna sell. This is gonna be amazing. Everybody's gonna want to buy from us. These shirts are awesome. And I'm trying to sell them, but nobody's buying them. And I felt like I put all this hard work into a product and nobody's buying it. But I realized I need to branch out. I need to talk to people. I didn't realize that I needed to talk to people, and that was just something that completely slipped my mind in the beginning. And then I realized you need to talk to people, you need to branch out, you need to let others know about your product, or how else will they know about your product? So we created a website and we did a paper website where you could scan it and the people could buy our shirts. And we actually got quite a bit of orders from that. And that's something that has really got me discouraged in the beginning, was not selling. But now I've grown and realized and matured that you gotta branch out and you gotta talk to people or nobody's gonna know. You gotta get your business out there.
So I'll tell you, we're all happy that you fought through that, right? That discouragement. And this is for Emma, I'm sorry, Robbie and Kara, because both of you have been involved in fast pitch competitions, right? I believe so. And there's no more vulnerable place than to be up front, right? Being judged, measured, and weighed in terms of your product and your idea than in front of a fast pitch audience. So, can you speak to the journey of an entrepreneur in this space of fast pitch and how you've seen Emma and Noah navigate those waters, if you will? So, Kara, maybe you can kick us off on the fast pitch element.
Privilege of seeing Noah at several pitches. He's competed against some of my kids and thrive and beat them. But it's, pitching is really hard. And we in Webster, we have pitches for our elementary through high school. So you have third graders up there pitching their ideas. The thing that I've actually noticed in that process is our elementary school kids, they pitch sometimes easier than my high school kids. Like elementary school kids are like, this is my idea. I love it. And it's great. Whereas high school students become very self-conscious and are like, oh my gosh, what if they don't like me? I don't think I can do this. And so it's been an interesting thing to watch my high school students mentor our elementary kids and then see how at ease the elementary students are with pitching. It's always hard to hear feedback. And that's what you get in a pitch, is you get real feedback. And oftentimes in school, you just get a piece of paper with a letter grade on it. This is different because they're talking about something that you created. This is kind of your baby. And our judges do talk to our students and provide feedback with them. We go through every range of emotions during pitches, from I just won and I'm super excited, to the emotions of I hate this. I hate my team. Everyone is terrible. This is a terrible idea. To the judges are the worst judges in the world. To, okay, maybe I should try something different. I mean, it's a range of emotions. And the way that I have approached this is I always have my mentors come in the next day after a pitch to review the video, just like an athlete. We review film. We look at it and we study it and we say, okay, how did we do? Were we clear when we were sharing what we were talking about? And then my mentors process that with them. We do reflections afterwards, after our pitches, to say, what did we learn? How do we feel during that moment? What can we do better the next time? And I ask my mentors to be vulnerable and share their failures and to share times they felt inadequate when they were pitching. And so that relationship with mentors, and when I say mentors, I mean people in industry, I mean my high school students, I mean my teachers. It's that relationship piece that says, hey, we've all been there. Let's take this and make us better. That really sticks with the kids when they leave our program. But Noah's great at pitching. He has it down to a science, and I'm hoping he'll be in the pitches that are coming up here in St. Louis in December. So I can't wait to see him there.
Hint, hint. And I can attest to this idea that it's not easy to see yourself on video. Like when I've done a keynote or I've spoken in front of a group, I'll tell my team, just don't show me the video. It's not easy, but you have to sit and look at how you came across. So thank you for sharing that, Kara. Robbie, your kind of perspective on the pitch element of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I totally agree with Kara. She pretty much nailed it. We're just here, to support the kids. We do our pitch challenges in the summertime a lot, and that's one thing that the kids look forward to every summer. They say, when are we going to do the pitch challenge? When are we going to do this? And their ideas, whenever they come up with it, it's really cool. And they like to work with their friends a lot. We don't have a lot of kids that like to work, by themselves solo. Every once in a while we do, but that friendship and that bond, that sometimes it's two different people who we would think wouldn't even be anywhere close to being like civilized together even, but they come together and they say, oh, this is the coolest thing, and they start a little pitch idea, and then they create something that's really 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 cool, and they're proud of it. It's something that they're like, oh my gosh, mom, oh my gosh, grandma, whoever they live with, they go home and they talk about it, and then we have parents calling up the next day saying, what did you guys do? You guys pitched? And we're like, not like baseball. We like created something that's really cool, and then we share it with them, and just the parents are excited, the kids are excited, and it's just a really cool learning experience that they get to go through.
Yeah. What I love, what I'm hearing from this element of pitching is coming together, brainstorming, and figuring out the best product or service possible. So when I even think about how we build learning experiences, right? I wonder, right, if this same discipline could help educators and young people come together to go, let's pitch a great program for our after school program, right? And so using that same element of coming together and putting our heads together for the best product and experience possible, that could be really, really cool. I could see that. Noah, you mentioned this idea. I think both of you talked about connection to your client, right? Connection. And with Mizzen, and I think Haley put out like this concept of human-centered learning. And we talk about the future, no matter how much we progress from a technological standpoint, you're gonna need that human element, the human connection piece. What role does what does an entrepreneur need to think about when it comes to connecting products and services with the people, right, with their future clients? So maybe Emma, when you think about connection, right, you shared a little bit already, like you realize you have to step out and actually talk to folks. What's something else you can share with us around this idea of connecting with your clients?
A way that we connect with our clients is going to places. We will set up something and we will talk to our clients and we'll have pictures showing that we made the product, and they'll ask us questions like, how'd you guys do this? When did you guys do this? And you gotta experience, it's just something you need to experience. And working alone, you can't do it alone. You have to have help. It's something you need to have help with. If I worked alone on this project, I think I would go insane. But you gotta have help from your friends, from Miss Cami, the staff. They just really help me move forward and, you know, build up my talking skills because I'm kind of shy and I don't really talk that much. So it has really helped my communication skills too.
I don't believe
So
that. I don't believe that, but that's fine. We'll save it for another day. But awesome. Anything else, Emma, you want to share about that? No, you're good. It just seemed like it looked like you wanted to say something else. I wasn't quite sure.
I think she's okay.
Awesome. So Noah, connection, and what role does that play for an entrepreneur? What should they be looking out for? What do you look out for?
So definitely with connection. So for one thing I'm very passionate about is I wanted to make sure my business had a connection with the community. So I call Junior Java a social enterprise because we're really a community-based business. Everything we do is for not just communities around the world. We also have been helping local communities. So one major partnership we've started is at my local church. So I started a cafe there, sponsored by Junior Java, where we've been donating 50% of the profits back to the youth ministry and to put more, I guess, resources towards their learning and their education as well. And so far we've been able to donate over $3,500 to the youth ministry, which has been amazing, and I feel really blessed to be able to do that. I've also gone back and sponsored I go to Ladue High School in St. Louis, so I sponsor my DECA club as well now, just to make sure that continue to pour resources back into places that have poured resources into me. So that's something I'm very passionate about, both education and my community. So very strong connection towards my business.
The two of you said two different but similar things, which is can't do it alone and connection to community. right? So this myth, right, that you're this, which you are brilliant, but this brilliant human being by themselves is concocting and creating something in a basement or a garage somewhere, but it's really about connection, right, with community, not doing it alone, and having that support system in place. Which, when we think about support system and moving forward, the idea of vision, right? People always associate entrepreneurs with visionary people. So when you think about vision for your business, like where do you go to keep that vision consistent and in front of you, and not kind of like, oh, I'm gonna go over here now, but how do you keep it steady and keep that vision in front of you and stay disciplined? So Emma, maybe if there's something you could share in terms of your experience of how what has been your vision, and then how do you keep steady and connected to that vision?
The way we all keep connected is we come together as a group and we talk about it. We talk about our different ideas. Somebody could say something like, "Oh, I like this," and somebody else could say, "But oh, I like this," and we can compromise and we can work together as a group and figure it out. And
So what I love about what you're saying is that vision is like a communal thing. Like you can actually have a shared vision, and there's several of you moving that vision together. So again, right, this idea of you can't do it alone. Noah, what about you? How do you keep marching towards a vision? How do you keep it steady and in front of you?
So through two things. One is like tiny steps. Each step I take is calculated, but also there's some risk with everything I do. And also my passion is something that definitely continues to motivate me through it. Like even from where I started, I'm surprised I haven't got any customers with the quality of the coffee I was selling, but now I'm selling coffee that I can confidently say rivals Starbucks and Panera in their coffees. So I definitely am just truly thankful for all the opportunities that have led me to be able to do this, and I look forward to continuing to uh, upgrade my brand step by step.
Yeah. And I'd be remiss if we didn't take an opportunity to at least like show way better than Starbucks. Mark's comment, way better than Starbucks. I agree. And I know because I tasted it. So, but you all showed us a little bit of your product. And I'd be remiss if we didn't give you an opportunity to kind of show like what your work's all about. So I don't know if this is an opportunity maybe to bring out a sample of the stuff that you built. Because and maybe while you do that, Kara and Robbie, the idea of creativity, right? How do you stay creative and outside the box? And how do you see your role as mentors? And kind of, from the outside looking in, how do you equip your young people to kind of think creatively, think outside the box, and don't fall into traps of like the usual or right? So maybe Kara, you could talk a little bit about how do you fuel creativity as a mentor?
Yeah, well, one of the things we do is we don't say no a lot. It's, with our well, even my high school students, I've found that play is a great way to practice creativity. And, we do a lot of rapid prototyping and just using, um, Venture Labs on here. They have a lot of great ideas on how to help kids with being creative. But really, I found it's giving the kids the freedom to just do it because they have been put in a box so often.
Mm.
But it's a lot of play. My high school students, the second day of school, we went to a park. We went to a park and we just played and we looked around, and then I was like, hey, when you're out here, see what problems you see and see if you could see any solutions. But those high schoolers were playing. I mean, they were on the slides, they were on all sorts of things that the parents were like, this is the best thing I've ever seen, is high school kids playing. Our brainstorming session after that time of play was so much deeper than if I was sitting in even our incubator. I mean, it's way deeper than them sitting in a classroom. Because it just gave them the freedom to be able to think and to be creative. So play and stop saying no all the time, or you can't, or that's not going to work. That kills creativity. So I really try not to do that very often.
I love it. The freedom to think. Again, right? Spaces are so important, like having the right space to generate that level of thought. Robbie, on your end, how do you, from your perspective, how do you continue to build a culture of creativity in your spaces?
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit. It's all about the kids, how they feel, their voices. Um, I mean, just this week we started Venture Lab at one of our newer locations, and they were doing the very first lesson, and they just picked up different things and were pretending different items in the room was different things that wasn't like the ordinary thing that it usually is used for, and uh, they loved it. So the fact that they loved it means that they're going to want to do more things like that, and it's just going to continue to grow. And just having the resources like Missouri AfterSchool Network and Venture Lab and YEI and all of the places that we have available to us, just having those resources and knowing who to contact and knowing that there's no actual failure. It's just what you learn from your mistakes and how you go and get better from it is all what it's all about.
And what I love is that there's so many champions. And again, there's something in the water in Missouri, right? Because there are so many champions. I mean, I remember one of the first times I went to the Mosaic conference, there was the youth entrepreneurship element was a centerpiece of that conference. And there's so much pride. And I think, again, right, a community that gets behind it is such an important part of building a strong network of youth entrepreneurs. And so thank you, Haley, for putting up on the chat links to their products. And so that's probably a better way to kind of see the great stuff that you are designing and creating for all of us. I'd like to, in these last like 13 minutes or so, talk a little bit about some practicals. So, and Kara, maybe you can kick this off for us a little bit because I saw your video where you were describing the Venture Lab component of the work that you do, and you talked about integrating the entrepreneurship curriculum in the third grade. So, which is pretty amazing. So, for folks listening, what are the practical steps to integrate entrepreneurship? Let's say you've never had it. This is the first time you're coming across it, and you want to bring it into a program. Like, how do you integrate entrepreneurship effectively?
Yeah, so being in the public school, we do have standards and curriculum that we have to follow. And when we were looking at how can we get entrepreneurship and help all of our students, K-12, come out with the entrepreneurial mindset, how can we embed it into the curriculum? And an easy way in Missouri to do that is in third grade because we have a Missouri business unit, an economics unit. And I was able to work with our social studies curriculum coordinator and take the Venture Lab curriculum and kind of mesh it together with what Missouri was requiring for their third grade curriculum. So now we're following curriculum that is required by the state. It's in school hours, and it's a different way for them to get that information, right? Instead of just drawing out your city and making a little business out of tape and you map out your business. We're going to the businesses. We're having kids go through the entrepreneurship unit and then go out into our community and meet with our business owners. And we had a little girl who was so excited in third grade for this field trip opportunity. She made a shirt that night at home with a Sharpie that said, "I'm an entrepreneur," and wore it to our field trip the next day. And those kids were so proud when they walked in to meet these business owners to share their ideas with them. So we've embedded it into the social studies curriculum. It fits very nicely. When talking to Mark and how do I get this into to get it into the schools, we found the after school space is a really easy way to get entrepreneurship into schools. There's not many barriers. You just have to have curriculum, and there's so many amazing companies out there that are providing curriculum that are easy to implement. You don't have to have a business degree. You just have to be able to be willing to walk along a kid who wants to learn. So we embedded it in our after school space. It is free of charge so that all kids can have access. So it's in our 4th and 5th grade after school. So everyone gets it in 3rd. They can go deeper in 4th and 5th. In 6th grade, we have it in the after school space, and then we're putting it into, hopefully eventually it might find its spot in a wheel. A lot of middle schools use like the wheel where you can do a fine arts or practical arts. So a little bit of a taste. And then we have it as an actual standalone course for our 7th and 8th graders. And we have close to 200 kids enrolled in that program. And then we go up into the high school and we have things like AMPed, which is algebra and entrepreneurship and manufacturing. And then they can get into things like Noah mentioned DECA and our marketing clubs, and they can come all the way here to thrive. So we have really worked on that vertical alignment, elementary through high school, to make sure all of our kids have access to this skill set that they need when they leave our school district. But yeah, and Venture Lab has been fantastic. YEI has been amazing, empowered. I mean, there's just a wealth of information and people who want to support you to help you figure out how to make it work specifically for your program needs or your school's needs.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're invested just a little bit, just a little bit. And yeah, shameless plug for Venture Lab, shameless plug for Mizzen Education, folks. I mean, if you want to start content right away with very little barriers to entry, Mizzen free of cost to educators, get in there and start checking out some of the great entrepreneurship content. Thanks, Haley, for posting that. Robbie, on your end, like, what is what's the pathway to integrate entrepreneurship?
So we actually have kindergarten through 12th graders in our program. We're at 9 different locations. And so each part of the year, we kind of target the beginning steps of the Entrepreneur Club. A lot of times the younger kids, they say, entrepreneur, that's so hard to say. I don't want to do that. That sounds difficult. And we're like, no, no, no. And so we trick them. And we do like these fun little activities and do like the Venture Lab and do all of the curriculum that we have provided to us. And then at the end, the kids are like, oh my gosh, this is fun. Can we keep going? And so, you know, at times we say you got to do this and just try it out just for a second. By the end, they're like so engaged in it that they want to keep doing it. And then once they get to the high school level, the junior high level at the teen center, they can become part of the entrepreneur club and make the t-shirts, or if they want to start a new club that's also an entrepreneur club, they're more than welcome to do that. And like I said before, the sky's the limit, and we embrace any new ideas that the kids are wanting to do. And we have a group at one of our elementary schools. Last year, one of the girls said, can we start making bracelets? And I said, absolutely, just start doing it and we can see where that goes. So she's doing that and she is super excited about it. And yeah, we just encourage all of the kids to participate in any of the activities that we provide to them.
So it sounds like it's an ecosystem, right? It's not just like one class doing it or there's that person or that club. It's getting stakeholders across all levels of the community, the school, and create this ecosystem. Emma, Noah, either of you can answer this question. Not both of you have to, so I'll leave it up to you all. Like, an adult comes to you, a school principal comes to you and says, I want to start entrepreneurship in my school or my after school program. What would you tell them as the first thing they have to do? Who wants to go first? No, go first.
I think I'll go first. I
Yeah.
say the first thing you have to do is really first, what comes first is always education. You have to first educate the students about entrepreneurship and about the different opportunities that they have through that. Like, I didn't really know about social entrepreneurship at first because I've been passionate about entrepreneurship my whole life. I discovered social entrepreneurship through talking to my stepdad and talking with them about that in my history lesson. But I'm grateful to have discovered it, but there's many people who maybe don't know about that. So it's definitely first education. So being able to educate the students on entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, just any sort of way that they can take their idea or their idea for a business and really expand it.
Awesome. Thank you. Emma, what's the first thing that you would tell a principal who wants to start entrepreneurship in their school?
I agree with Noah. I feel like education is a really big step. And if my principal came to me and asked me, "Hey, I want to teach people about entrepreneurship," I'd be like, "Well, let's have an assembly. I want people to know about this." I would have staff from BGC come and talk about it, and we could put up posters around the school. And because when you're walking through the hallways, the first thing you look at is the posters through the school. And that could really catch somebody's eye, and they could be like, "Hey, that sounds kind of fun. Maybe I want to do that." And you just have to have that connection. And Boys and Girls Club, they can come and talk to the school, and they can tell them about, teach them, "Hey, this is what Entrepreneur Club is. This is what you'll be doing. This is how you'll be doing it." I just feel like you really need to make it something fun. Like, teach them, but make it fun. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to sit through boring assembly and just being like, "Oh, Entrepreneur Club, blah, blah, blah." No, they want to have excitement. They want to have something fun. You know what I mean? Just
Hey, listen,
educate their minds and let the creativity flow.
you're not lying because if you don't do an assembly right, it can go sideways. So you're absolutely right. Mic drop indeed. Um, folks, we're coming up on the end of our time here. So I'm going to ask one last question. Um, and this is specific to after school. If someone listening here says, "I want to start an after school activity today, like a 15-minute activity that would get people excited about entrepreneurship," right? What would that be? Is there a certain activity you already know about? Is there something you've created? So maybe Robbie, you can kick us off on this one. What is that one thing that can be introduced tomorrow, right? Where they can get going with entrepreneurship right away?
Oh man, that's a hard one. I feel like kind of like that game that I was talking about earlier. Like you could take yesterday they took a cup and they turned it into a telephone and they turned it into like a golf putt hole and they turned it into whatever. Just getting that creativity going and seeing that they can turn something into anything. Um, and letting them just know that the possibilities are endless for what they can do and what they can create is just good for the kids and good for the youth in the community. And knowing that there's people out there that support them and that, we can have guest speakers, we have Boys and Girls Club staff, we have you guys on this call, just having them out there and having the champions, our kids, our older kids that's already engaged in all of these programs, to help with that is just really awesome. And I think that, anything is possible with that.
Excellent, excellent. Kara, tomorrow, 15 minutes. What's the one thing that can kick it off?
Well, that's funny because Scott put it in the chat. Wacky Inventions is where I kind of go to for my first thing.
Okay.
There's also a great game called Disrupt Us. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game, but it is very similar to Wacky Inventions. If you've ever played Apples to Apples, it's kind of like that. But I've used that in elementary, middle, and even taken it to the Chamber of Commerce. And it's just a way to like take two cards that have pictures of things on it, and you can either make some new product out of it, or you can use what that product does and create something new. It's a great way to just get people thinking. So those are my two go-tos is Wacky Inventions and Disrupt Us. I like carry them with me whenever I go to speak anywhere.
Beautiful, beautiful. Folks, we are here. It's been an hour. It flew by. Brilliant, brilliant ideas, brilliant perspectives from all four of you. Emma and Noah specifically, congratulations on your success, on finding a passion, on making a difference. Robbie and Kara, thank you so much for being incredible champions and promoters of this great work. Obviously, Missouri AfterSchool Network and the state of Missouri for getting behind entrepreneurship and all the great programs that are in there. And I always got to give a shout out to Venture Lab and Scott Mann because he's just a cool dude. So, folks, thanks for joining this incredible session of Mizzen Meets. Our young people did not disappoint. So much good stuff. Appreciate you all. Have a great, great rest of your week and day, and we'll catch you on the Mizzen front. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Thank you.
Great job. Great job. That was fun. Let's see, Mark, is Mark still here or did he leave?